episode,
The Maiden Voyage,
where we challenge the idea that everyone should have a podcast.
Because his wife said the opposite, that not everyone should have a podcast.
And today, I'm Brenden Bayshore, the owner of LVA, and I'm joined by, to my right,
I'm Elijah Williamson. I drive that and sell cars.
and to my left.
I'm Caleb Hyatt. I own 4th and 5th Automotive, and I have a piece of crap GTI.
It's not a piece of crap.
Thank you.
And today, we're going to discuss some automotive tomfoolery and other automotive-related topics.
Okay, but what about like the Ferraris or the Porsches?
What about them?
Is the reason that we would pick them over a Z06?
Okay, listen,
Because we're talking like, with the 458, that is a, what, 2012
I think they stopped
Later?
at like 13.
car?
Still, it's timeless. It's a Ferrari.
Yeah, but like, it's not that.
Like, sure, it doesn't have Apple CarPlay.
No, like it's dated. It's almost a liability to have that over the Z06.
Well, yeah, it's gonna
not
be
even
great.
almost. It is a liability to have that over a Z06. But I'd still pick the 458 over the Z06 every time. And what is it about those cars?
The Z06 is very cool.
Yes.
But okay, another scenario. You see one drive by, maybe separately, but like, one of each drives by, you're gonna be like, holy shit, that's a Ferrari. And the other one's gonna be like, oh, that's a Z06, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know? It's like, oh my god, a Ferrari! And it's just, oh, another Corvette. Sure, it's a cooler one than the base C8, but like...
But is that like just a location thing? Because like, you send a Z06 over to Europe, and they're going to be going crazy. They do that for Hellcats and stuff whenever they're over there, because
I
they
guess that's
have
fair.
like two.
But you gotta think, like, in Japan, right? Like, they don't get, like my car. You see that driving around in Japan, like, people are gonna go, oh my god!
Yeah.
And the R34 is just, like, they're there. They've always been there.
Yeah.
But, like, here, it's completely flipped. Like, that's regular traffic almost. And then you see some Skyline, you're like, oh!
And that's what I don't get about people saying that, like, their argument against the Corvette being a supercar. One of the arguments is it's not exotic.
I feel like it's pretty, okay, a base Stingray, I would say that's probably not a supercar.
I'd
It's
say
a really good car for the
Yeah.
money, but it's not a supercar.
like, not every Corvette is a supercar, but the Corvette is a supercar. There are Corvette supercars,
Not the Stingray.
not the Stingray. Like the
The
C1,
ZR1,
the C1 through C3, none of those are supercars.
No.
C4 ZR1, yes.
No.
Well, hold on, wait.
Yes, it is.
The supercar, I would say, it's not a thing until whenever the Mira came out. That's first supercar benchmark.
Okay, so that's
all
all
supercars.
70s.
And that's what I'm saying. What year did that come out?
I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Jordan, look up what year the Lamborghini Mira came out.
Put it on the screen, right here,
Put it on the screen.
somewhere.
The C4 ZR1 came out after.
Yeah, but
Significantly after.
at the same time, you got to think the top tiers of those like Corvettes, they were just as fast, if not faster, than any Lambo or Ferrari that was really getting put out at the time.
Yeah.
Like top dog Corvette, probably eating up anything else overseas.
But when people look back and they're like, okay, what do I think of as a supercar in any time before like the 90s? And they're thinking like Countach.
I'm not leaving.
Yeah, it's
Stuff like that.
definitely not speed related.
Yeah, you're not thinking about a
Testarossa.
C4 ever.
No. But then you actually look at what the C4 ZR1 is.
That's awesome.
And it is, in terms
Still
of
not a supercar.
in terms of quartering G-force,
But that's not.
it is on par with the Testarossa. It is faster than Testarossa. It's faster than the Countach by far. It is almost on par with a Ferrari F40 in terms of performance.
Would you say the Dodge Viper is a supercar by that metric?
Yeah.
Yeah. You say the Viper is a supercar?
Yeah.
Because you got to think, like the entry level Viper, which I mean, there's not really too many tiers. Like you get like a, what are they called?
GTS.
You get like a GTS, but then they only ever had like 3 tiers. Like you get pretty much
Okay.
like a base, like a Viper, and then you had like the GTS, and then I mean I could be wrong, I'm not a Viper connoisseur, but then you had like the ACR, of course, and they all had the same motor. It was just like
But
cosmetic scenario.
Yeah.
if the Viper is a supercar, then what stops like a GT350 from being a supercar?
We're not going to
Because
sit
the
here and
performance
say,
of a GT350R is not on par with a Viper.
With a non-ACR Viper?
I don't know. I feel like the weight to it, like even like it weighs
Like
significantly.
a Viper GTS and a GT350R, if we're just talking performance.
Okay, but to be fair, in my personal mind, I think the GT500, like the newest GT500, and
Watch what you're about to say.
the ZL1 is
The
They're on
benchmark
the
has
line.
been set way
They're on the
higher.
line.
The benchmark has been
That's
set
what
way
I'm saying.
higher in modern day.
But that's why I'm saying you can't only take performance into consideration.
and I'm not.
The looks, and that's where we go back to
It's a vibe
the
thing.
C4 ZR1 not being a supercar is because it might have the performance, but it doesn't meet. It's the same reason that the ZL1 and the GT500 in my mind are not supercars.
There are less C401s in the world than there are 458s.
In rarity, I'm
Or
just saying,
Huracans.
like you
it's
mentioned, they-
rare.
they
It is
lose.
expensive too,
Yeah,
and it has the performance.
I could say
Per the
something
time
that will get
period-
me going right now.
What are you about to say?
It'd probably get you going too.
Don't. If you say something about like that GTD or something, I'm gonna.
The C7 ZR1 is not a supercar.
That's absurd.
That is definitely.
That is the most.
That's a supercar.
Oh
That
my
is
God.
a supercar. I mean, you gotta think.
The C7 ZR1 is probably the pinnacle of rear-wheel drive front-engine performance cars, in
Ever.
my opinion.
But how is it a supercar?
How is it not?
I mean,
Genuinely, how is it not? It's a $250,000 car right
if not more. I've seen
They're
some pretty
extremely
close
rare.
to 300 grand at this point.
If you don't think it's exotic, like you're out of your mind.
755 horsepower, carbon fiber everywhere.
But there's also a ton of cars that are really low production editions of cars that are not supercars and still are not.
such as.
GT350R Heritage Edition.
But that's not trying to be a supercar. That's the thing.
Is the
Mustang
C7
was
ZR1
never.
trying to be a supercar?
It's
Yes.
about what it competes with, I would say.
The
is
C7
what- that's a big part of it.
The
GT
Corvette
50R.
itself has always tried to be a supercar. Since the word supercar was brought into the game, they have tried to be a supercar.
The Corvette has always tried to compete with overseas, like that stuff. You know, Porsches, Ferraris, Lambos. Like that's the point of the Corvette, is to give us something that is comparable ish.
And the Mustang's never trying to do that. That's not its identity.
I know, I just don't.
Okay, I will say one thing, and this might be that GTD thing. We
Yeah.
could rope that into the supercar category. Like that's
But
crazy.
the only reason that car exists is because they needed a homologation car for the GT3.
Well, that's fine and dandy and all, but like, I would say that's a supercar. And I'm not like a Mustang fanboy. I drive a Camaro. Like, if it can outperform like a 911 GT3 RS, I'm gonna go ahead and say that's a supercar. It probably weighs like 4,000 pounds still, because that's.
I mean, the C7 ZR1 is not like.
Well, no, but it's not 4,000
It's
pounds.
probably like 3,500.
That's a far cry from 4,000 pounds.
It has a top speed of 212 miles an hour. Like that's.
Yeah.
It is a fast car.
Yeah.
A lot of cars are 200 plus now, though.
Like the new ZL1s and the GT500, those are both 4,000 pounds.
And also
Hellcat,
do
wide body.
200 plus.
Yeah.
203.
But I don't
This
think.
was made to do more than just go fast in a straight line. What it said? It set the VIR lap record for production cars as soon as it went on.
The ZR1?
C8 ZR1 or C7?
C701.
Okay.
When it came out, it set the lap record of VIR. Fact check me on that, Jordan.
Fact check that.
When it came out.
So the
not
C8
now.
ZR1 beat the C7 ZR1 sound?
Yes.
There wasn't anything in between?
There was
Oh, okay.
since then.
Okay.
I mean, that's been almost 6 years now.
This is where I get into it. It doesn't have the looks.
What?
C7 ZR1, Viper, to me, do not have supercar looks.
No.
I'm picturing rear engine, two-door.
Well, that's
Okay,
what a
Lamborghini.
C8.
Do you think?
And
like
that's
a
why the C8 is, like, that's why I'll give you C8 Z06 and C8 Z01.
Aston Martin, like DBS or whatever.
I wouldn't
is-
consider that a supercar.
I don't know what you'd call that. A Grand
A GT
Tourer?
car.
A
Yeah,
GT,
GT car.
Or what's the one that I'm
Like the
thinking of?
Mercedes
The-
AMG GT or GTR.
There's just so
Yeah.
many gray areas with like
so
every
you don't
like,
think the
so many
AMG
cars.
GTR is a supercar? I don't know what I consider.
Those are GT cars. Really
Yeah.
fast GT cars.
But that's trying to be a GT car. Like
Correct.
that's what it is.
I feel like different tiers of like the same model of car. Like once again with the Corvette, like once you start to get up there in the trim levels, some of those make the jump to end up being a supercar.
Yeah.
But like purely based on performance, because they're not really changing the look all that much.
I know, but it's already got the look, right?
Yeah.
But before you bump up to that trim with more power, more shit
With the C8.
on the car,
Yeah. Like I would say that the C7 ZR1 looks more like a GT car than it does a supercar.
what just as
That's one of the few cars
Just
I've seen
based on
in
it, on
person
visual.
dude, that big hood thing that's got going on.
where I see it and like all the other cars around it, they disappear. Like that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. That is like it.
You like the merchandise, huh?
But would you say that its styling is more similar to a GT car?
No.
Really?
I mean,
long hood, 2-door,
I'm gonna get crucified for
cabin
this,
sits
but,
back.
What are you about to do?
Like, 812 super fast. Well, I mean that's kind of GT car, but it's also supercar. Like it reminds me of a front engine Ferrari in terms of the way they go about the styling. Not that it looks like one, but the way they go about the styling reminds me of that.
Anyways, Cadillac is joining Formula One.
Yes.
It's happening.
Are they developing the entire car?
They're not for their first season.
No, not the motor.
Okay.
I know that for a fact. Not the motor yet. There are plans for them to. I said something about in the next 10 years they will be able to.
So what? They join in 2026, and then they change the cars.
I don't know a whole
2 years
lot
after.
about it quite yet.
I have no scope of knowledge for F1 at all.
That's okay. I kind of fell off a little bit too, but I think it's very cool that Cadillac is joining. Cadillac's been doing a lot of racing stuff recently, which is kind of weird because they're trying to get rid of all of the.
Performance Cadillacs?
No, they're trying to make them all electric. Cadillac wants to be electric by 2030.
Do you think they'll go back on that?
I think they will go back
I
on it
think they will.
eventually. Yes, because
Crazy hot take here.
oh,
Cadillac goes electric, and then they bring the bump start from the LMP cars to the street.
that would be cool.
That'd be freaking.
That would be very
sick.
cool.
but
It's not gonna happen.
no,
But it would be
probably
sick.
not.
Imagine you're at the McDonald's drive-thru. You're an electric. They hand you your quarter pounder, and as you drive away, the bump start kicks in, and you drive away.
that would be really cool.
That'd be sick.
But that's so extra. I mean, technically, I think you can already get that in like the E-Ray.
Yeah, but it doesn't like.
It doesn't like bump start, blah blah blah.
The only thing I've seen that does that is the Revolto. That will just kick in like, I don't know, 10, 15 miles an hour. Turns on.
The whole electric, like, oh, let's move to electric sort of deal. Like, even like with the selling of the cars, especially like it's all about like location and blah blah blah, things of that nature. But why are we not exploring more hybrid, sort of?
Yeah, I mean that's
Jesus,
that's
you
the
know,
conundrum from the beginning.
That, like, because you got to think like the life. It's a lifestyle change to
Mhm.
no longer have a combustion vehicle. You have to have a home charger installed for it to really make any sense. You can't go on like a long travel trip without stopping for ever for anything. But you get a hybrid, you get like the best of both worlds,
I
whether
don't-
it's a plug-in or not.
I don't think we're far from it being able to make long distance trips.
We're
Fully
close,
electric,
but
or
Yeah, fully electric. Because I mean those fast chargers like the Stage 3 or whatever.
DC fast charger.
Yeah,
So
those
your
are, those are
fastest.
going from like 10 to 80% battery in what, like 2 hours now?
Quicker than that, but still, it's like if you wanted
yeah,
to
but
drive to.
so like if
you're-
I was driving to Arizona to go get the GTR,
Oh
Yeah.
god.
I had to stop for diesel 10 times each way there and back. That would add there and back 20 hours.
And you
So I'm not
cannot
saying it's
tow.
there yet for.
And you can't.
It's not there yet for anything industrial use.
Absolutely not. No.
But even if you were
no
driving to
chance.
Florida for spring break,
No, because okay,
You're adding-
say you go to, say it has like 300 miles of range. That gets you down to, I'm not even going to guess because I have no idea.
Kentucky.
Kentucky. Yeah, that actually sucks, so never mind. I was gonna say go take lunch for like an hour, charge it up. It's not worth it.
Working at the Chevy dealer, we have the Silverado EV. Not only have we not sold, actually, I think we've sold one out of the 4 or 5 that we've gotten so far, and a work truck with vinyl floors and a plastic steering wheel, no heated seats, like not even the good gauge cluster, none of that. That starts at like 75 grand. You can get a gas high country with the 6.2 for like less than that.
But that's
You can't
an
even use it as a
entirely
truck.
different problem on its own. It's
I know,
just
but I'm
the
saying,
price
listen to
of
this.
cars in general.
Oh, everything's super expensive. But listen, on the Ford Lightning, for example,
Yeah.
you couldn't tow anything from a full charge if you hooked up a 10,000
Like
pound
20
trailer.
miles.
Yeah, you're gonna get like 20 to 50 miles. Chevys have made it a little better to where they have rated it at. Then I don't know how they formulated this. They're probably the perfect conditions, blah blah blah. But with 10,000 pound trailer, and apparently there's a 20,000 pound variant coming. But with a 10,000 pound trailer, you can get 200 miles before you have to charge again. And that just is not enough for it to make sense to do like truck stuff. You know, like you loading up like a race car and going to Indy, and like if you were to go put them, like it would probably get you there and back,
Fair.
which is good,
Yeah.
but at the same time,
It's like a local landscaper truck, but no local landscaper is affording a 70 grand truck.
no,
That's true.
absolutely
If they're
not.
just staying locally to where that makes sense. Because that's the only thing that would make sense for it. But speaking on car prices, the Mustang, how far down are sales right now?
I don't know how far down they are. I just know that the Mach-E outsold the actual.
Yeah.
How could that be?
Probably because a
Shitty car?
GT is 60 grand.
Yep.
What's even crazier though, I think, and I haven't driven one of the new ones, but from everything that I've read, watched, heard, people who own them, like Sean, they suck to drive.
They don't suck. They are just not better than a Gen 2 or Gen 3. Not Gen 2 or Gen 3, but like 2015 to 17 or 18 to 23.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, you get this car when it was new,
Mm-hmm.
2015 SS1LE, out the box, versus a brand new 5.0 performance package.
Yeah.
That's beating it on probably most any circuit.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's not like you get into it and you're like, this is god awful. It's just like I just spent double the money for 10%
don't know what you're
less
getting.
performance.
No.
You
And
don't know
people-
what you're getting more.
You're not getting anything more. You're
People
getting
are spending 80 grand on dark horses,
stupid.
taking them to the track,
Yep.
and they're overheating.
Yep. Yep.
Isn't that why you bought the dark horse? To
Mhm.
go do track stuff? Like, that's what it's for.
You would hope so, yeah.
And you can't even do that without it overheating.
Mhm.
Like,
When you could go take 50 grand and get a 2018 and up Mach 1.
and that's a good car.
It's a great car.
Looks good.
It's a GT350 without the
All
problem
right.
engine. It's got the better transmission. It's got the magnetic ride. It
It
handles
does
like
have
that.
the better transmission.
It's got GT350 Brembos
Mhm.
and then a reliable engine.
The
But
wheels on that, if you get the performance package, are cool.
they're cool.
The whole car is just really good looking.
Yeah. When I started at the Ford dealership for a little while, they had one of those and I drove it.
It's probably the most slept on S550 Mustang.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
Because the Mach 1 hadn't made a return since to
Since
the
like the
S550.
SN95.
Yeah, it hadn't, and that was just like I don't know if they did any handling things to it, but cosmetically it was just like, here's a hood scoop and some wheels.
Stripes. Yep. True.
There you go.
But yeah,
Personally,
I
I
mean,
think
Ford cranks the price up to 60 grand for a car that performs worse than a brand new $40,000 performance pack 4 years ago.
Yeah,
5
that
years
does
ago.
not make any sense. Like,
And you still can't tune them.
no.
But the whole car itself it's still an S550.
Yeah.
Like the chassis,
Underneath,
all the
exhaust you can swap over.
literally
from an S550.
everything is an S550 on that.
That
So what is
suspension-
causing it to be
So much more.
what a brand new GT in 2015 was like maybe 35 grand?
40 if you had like a premium performance.
Twice the price.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And I think anyone who maybe wants to upgrade to the new Mustang, they're sitting here like me, right? If I were to sell my silver Mustang and get into an S650, why would I go spend 60 grand when it's inevitable in 2 to 3 years those cars are going to plummet down to 35 or 40.
Yeah.
And I think everyone who maybe had like an S197 and they immediately made the jump in 2015 to an S550, they're sitting here going, yeah, there's really no reason to make the immediate jump because I can wait 2-3 more years and it's going to be worth, half as much. But before they could just, spend 10 grand extra and get the new model.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the sales are profitable.
Yeah.
Now, why would the Mach-E outsell it though? Because I still don't understand the value proposition of a Mach-E.
They're leasing those. All those
Okay.
are actual purchases, and I would say anything. If you buy an electric vehicle, lease it, or you will immediately lose 15 grand.
Clean, regular traffic cars. You see them out in the wild.
I know what he's saying.
Okay.
What ones get you going?
Okay, let's ride.
Like a car that's technically regular traffic, but you see a really nice example of it, and you're like, that's cool.
There was a around where I work, and this guy actually ended up trading it in with us. It was a newer body style Corolla, and it was like an SE or something. I don't know, but it was lowered, had some cool wheels on it, a little spoiler, and I mean that's all that car really needed. It had some sort of exhaust.
So like not a GR Corolla.
Yeah, no, it was like a base model manual Corolla. It was on like lowering springs, and the dude took the wheels off before he traded it.
I think any new car, even if it's not intended to be sporty, but it comes in a manual, can come off as kind of cool. To an extent.
A lot of them are really have that design cue to them. They're pretty much designed with that in mind of.
True.
That's kind of what's hot right now is the more sportier looking cars.
True.
Whatever Accord came before the one that's right now.
Yeah, current ones aids.
When you mod one of those, like put some cool wheels on it and lower it, like bag it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Those are cool. Chevy Malibu.
Absolutely.
Hot topic.
Absolutely.
There's a couple I've seen on Instagram.
Nope.
Yes. Bags, cool 3-piece wheels.
Nope.
Some like front bumper splitter.
Looks like a rental car.
If they would have made a Malibu SS, they would have sold that thing.
Yeah.
I wish they would have done
Cruise
hatchback
SS manual
with the 4-cylinder
out of the
manual out of the Camaro.
Yep, that would have been cool.
All-wheel drive.
No, it doesn't even need to be all-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive.
It doesn't.
Like the Focus RS. You switch it back and forth.
I'm just saying it doesn't need. That was just a very simple thing that they could have done.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool.
Hey, we just got this Tesla Model 3, right? Now hear me out. It's performance. It's like 2021 or something, 22 maybe. It's 30 grand. It's got like 30, maybe 40,000 miles or something. I don't know. That's a lot of car for 30 grand. Because I look at a Tesla Model 3 and I'm like, This one's got like the big brakes, and this is all factory. It's on Pilot Sport 4S's.
Yeah, but you can get that for under 30 grand. That's
This
more car.
right here, dude. This thing does 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
Yeah, but outside,
It's all-wheel
outside of
drive.
that.
And you can turn the front wheel drive off, and it's got like a specific drift mode.
That's cool.
It's comfortable. It's got a shite load of technology. It'll drive itself anywhere.
And whenever you forward, it goes. No, it doesn't even do that. It goes.
Like something like that.
How does it sound?
Sure, it's electric. It's quiet, yeah. But like the capabilities of that car is like what? Like you.
There's like a slight whistle to it.
But still, I'm telling you, like from purely like just tooling around. Like it was raining the other day, and I went to go pick up lunch in it. It's so tight.
You know what it doesn't sound like though?
What? A catless straight pipe?
A catless, straight-piped V8 with a straight-cut gear sequential transmission.
But that's not 30 grand.
The transmission
Driving
is.
out on the road.
I wouldn't get one. I'm just saying, it's an enjoyable car.
I think as a daily
that
it'd be
performs excellent. Like take that out on the track. Like if we were allowed to, around here, which we can't. I bet it would do pretty good because it would pull out of the corners so hard. It's all-wheel
It has
drive.
a really low center of gravity.
Yes,
I mean
telling
the
you,
whole bottom is
the whole thing. Like while Tesla, like the production quality of them is kind of cheap. Like when you're actually driving it, like the wheel feel, like it's very solid, and like you turn the wheel like even a little bit, it just kind of changes direction. Like I think it's a cool car. I would have loved to turn the drift mode on and go and play with it, but like it's not my car. I'm not trying to, lose my job or anything.
I mean,
So I wasn't
drove
gonna do all that. But
the EV6 GT.
how was
the
that?
GT line.
Was that a good car?
Yeah.
Because the normal EV6, it was like, eh.
I mean, it was fast for one, and like you said, with the low center of gravity, it literally just feels like it's genuinely on rails.
Yeah.
Like there's no real body sway or anything like that. It just handles.
And it goes.
We are watching the thing that we love die in front of us.
Cameron?
No, cars.
They're not dying. Let's be real. Listen, with this new administration, Trump is, and I know he's not like the controller of
Getting
everything.
political.
No, I'm just saying, as a whole, he does not. The last administration versus the current administration, they're not in favor of EVs.
No,
Correct.
And they were
or at
pushing
least in
EVs
favor of pushing.
heavily. There were tax credits. There still are tax credits.
There were mandates.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff, and that is all gone.
It's more
They're
so buy
full.
whatever you want than you have to have this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice. Oh my gosh, you should have seen when the tax credits were first coming out. We had people coming out of the woodworks on these, and we had like 13 pre-owned bolts, all under 20 grand, and everyone was like, $4,000 off, and they thought some people got it like front up, and some people it was like it's between you and your tax guy. But it was a trip. You should have seen how many people we had. Oh yeah, back to don't buy a EV, lease it.
Unless it weighs more than 6,000 pounds and you're trying to get a tax write-off.
Yeah, but you'll still be way down later. They just depreciate.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
100%.
Especially on one that you can get like $7,500 off, like on the front end from
Yeah.
Chevy. Like, what's going on? Like, I have 2 lyrics right now.
Well, can't you still write off lease vehicles if they're?
You write off the whole monthly payment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, then you're literally.
Yeah, you just don't get it in the first year. So like you could write off the whole purchase price in the first year if it was purchased and above 6,000 pounds. Well, I think now it's like 80%, but regardless, yeah, you can eventually write off all of your lease payments. It's just not as big of a write-off in the first year.
But then the money you're saving from the depreciation and not having to worry about the car essentially.
This
Would
is not
that
financial advice.
Would that make up for the year that you're not being able to write off payments?
I'll tell you what it doesn't make up for. The fact that you're driving a Mach-E.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
How can they even call that a Mustang? Like, on a real note.
I don't know. I would like to know who signed off on it.
They should have called it something else, and I
The
think it would have done
Stallion.
better. I think it would have sold
Stallion would've
even
been
better.
cool.
They could have just called it the Stallion and tweaked the Mustang logo a little bit. They did not have to call it a Mustang.
No, because it's not like, and they like bring back the old names and doing that thing. Like they brought back the Ford Maverick, and it's a truck now. Like,
And you can also say like, well, why would they call it another horse? Another horse model. They have the Bronco. They've done it before.
Yeah.
So just call it the Stallion. Make it its own thing. No one would have it. I bet more Mustang owners would have purchased it if it was not called a Mustang.
all right, that has been episode 1 of the Talking Heads. Will there be an episode 2? Probably.
If we can figure out the technical difficulties of the plug-in for the camera.
Yeah,
battery's not
dying.
charging.
Whose fault is that?
It's probably mine.
That guy.
It's probably
It's
mine.
his fault.
This is his shop and his equipment, and
It's all his fault.
His plea to start talking on the camera, and we did not have charged batteries for this.
Yeah, how is that gonna work?
Well, we have an awesome backdrop, and that's really all that matters.
That is
That's
all that
true.
matters, really.